Welcome back to True Event Archive, where forgotten history comes back to life. Tonight, we step into one of the greatest mysteries of the ancient world. A time when powerful kingdoms ruled the Mediterranean, when trade connected continents, when empires believed they were unshakable, and then they vanished. Before the world collapsed, before the cities burned, before the name, Sea Peoples, was carved into stone. There was an ordinary evening. Imagine standing in a coastal city around 1200 BC. The sun is setting over the Mediterranean. The air smells of salt and smoke from cooking fires. Merchants are packing up their stalls. Fishermen pull in their final nets of the day. Children run through narrow streets, laughing. Bronze tools hang in workshops. Potters shape clay under fading light. Nothing feels like the end. The harbor is full of ships. Tall wooden vessels tied side by side, cargo unloaded, copper ingots, jars of oil, fine fabrics, carved ivory. Sailors speak different languages, but understand the same gestures of trade. Inside the palace, scribes press symbols into wet clay, letters for foreign kings, requests for gold, promises of alliance, marriage arrangements between royal families. It feels stable, safe, permanent, but somewhere beyond the horizon, something is already moving. Ships not filled with goods. Ships filled with people, and they are not coming to trade. They are coming because their own homes have failed, because their fields are dry, because their children are hungry. Numbers. History changes. The world did not end in fire. It ended in silence. Cities that had stood for hundreds of years, burned in weeks. Strong walls that had never fallen, crumbled. Kings who once called each other brother, stopped writing letters. Ships that crossed the sea every day, vanished, and then, in the records that survived, a name appeared, the Sea Peoples. No one knew exactly who they were. No one knew where they came from. And for a long time, no one could stop them. Within a single generation, powerful kingdoms fell, trade collapsed, writing systems disappeared. Entire cultures faded into shadow, an entire world, gone. Before the fall, the world of the Late Bronze Age was connected in ways that feel surprisingly modern. Great kingdoms stretched across the lands around the Mediterranean. Egypt stood tall along the Nile. The Hittites ruled vast lands in Anatolia. Mycenaean kings controlled parts of Greece. Powerful cities thrived along the coast of what we now call Syria and Lebanon. Babylon held influence in Mesopotamia. They were rivals, yes, but they were also partners. They traded copper and tin to make bronze. They exchanged gold, ivory, grain, fine cloth, and crafted goods. Ships crossed the Mediterranean loaded with cargo. Caravans moved across dry lands with guarded treasure. We know this because of letters. Clay tablets survive where kings wrote to each other. They addressed each other as equals. They asked for gold. They arranged marriages between royal families. They complained about delayed shipments. It was a system, a network. And it worked, for centuries. It worked, but like any system, it had weak points. Everything depended on trade. Bronze required copper and tin. Those materials came from different places. If ships stopped sailing, if roads became unsafe, if one kingdom fell, the others would feel it. It was a chain, and chains can break. To understand how shocking the collapse was, you have to understand how advanced this world truly was. Bronze was not simple metal, it required planning. Copper mined in one region, tin mined in another. Smelted in controlled furnaces, shaped by skilled hands, distributed across kingdoms. That means miners, metalworkers, traders, sailors, guards, accountants, royal oversight. Thousands of people connected by trust and timing. If one shipment of tin failed to arrive, production slowed. If production slowed, weapons and tools became scarce. If weapons became scarce, armies weakened. If tools became scarce, farms suffered. One delay could ripple across the entire system. The late Bronze Age world was globalized in its own way. And globalization brings strength, but it also brings vulnerability. Around 1200 BC, something began to change. At first, the signs were small: a city burned here. A trade route disrupted there. Letters began to sound more desperate. One ruler begged another for help. Supplies were running low. Enemies were at the gates. Then, the destruction spread. Archaeologists have found layers of ash in city after city. Ugarit, destroyed. Hattusa, destroyed. Mycenaean palace centers, destroyed. Not damaged, not weakened, destroyed. Homes abandoned, walls collapsed, objects left where they fell. It wasn't just war between neighbors, it was widespread. It hit regions that had once been stable and powerful. And in Egyptian inscriptions, carved into stone, a chilling phrase appears. They came from the sea. The Sea Peoples. The texts describe groups arriving by ships. Warriors with unfamiliar equipment. Entire families traveling with them. Carts, livestock, children. This was not a simple raid. This looked like migration. Desperate migration. And desperation can be more dangerous than ambition. But who were they? That question still haunts historians. The Egyptians listed strange names, groups never recorded before. Some may have come from the Aegean, some from Anatolia, some perhaps from even farther west. We do not know for sure, and that mystery makes the story even darker. Because when you do not know your enemy, fear grows. Some scholars believe these people were driven by drought. Evidence suggests the climate became unstable. Long periods without rain may have destroyed crops, famine may have followed, fields failing, rivers shrinking. Food running out, families starving. What do? You move, you search for better land. And if someone stands in your way, you fight. Other scholars point to earthquakes. This region sits along fault lines. A series of powerful quakes could have damaged cities. Weakened walls, created chaos, and then there is internal collapse. Rebellion, political instability, economic strain. The truth is likely not simple. It really is. The Bronze Age world was complex. And when complex systems begin to fail, they do not fail in just one way. They fail everywhere, at the same time, and once that process begins, it can be impossible to stop. In one of the most dramatic moments of this period, the Sea Peoples turned their attention to Egypt. Egypt was strong, protected by deserts and the Nile. Rich in grain, stable compared to others, but even Egypt was not safe. Under Pharaoh Ramesses III, the Egyptian empire prepared for invasion. The inscriptions describe a massive movement of people approaching by land and sea. Dozens of ships low in the water, heavy with warriors. Egyptian scouts see dust on the horizon. Movement of carts and livestock. Ramesses III positions archers along the shore. Egyptian ships wait in the narrow channels. The Sea Peoples enter, the trap closes, arrows fill the sky. Wood splinters, men shout, oars strike water in panic. Some try to board Egyptian vessels, close combat follows. Bodies fall into the river. The chaos is overwhelming. Egypt fought hard and Egypt won. But victory came at a cost. Resources drained, borders weakened, confidence shaken. Elsewhere, the damage was final. The Hittite Empire vanished. Mycenaean Greece entered a dark age. Writing disappeared, trade networks collapsed. A world that had been connected and advanced for its time collapsed into isolation. For hundreds of years, there was silence, fewer records, smaller settlements, less monumental architecture. It was not the end of humanity, but it was the end of an age. History teaches us something powerful here. No system is too big to fail. No empire too strong to fall. Sometimes collapse does not begin with a single event, it begins with pressure, drought, economic strain, political tension, migration, war, layer upon layer, until something gives. The sea did not just carry invaders, it carried change. Irreversible change. The sea peoples remain a mystery. Were they villains, or were they survivors, pushed to the edge? Now, I want to hear from you. What do you think really caused the collapse of the Bronze Age world? Was it climate change, war, internal rebellion, a combination of everything? Do you believe the sea peoples destroyed the empires, or simply finished what was already breaking? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I read them. If you enjoy deep, cinematic explorations of real historical events like this, make sure you like this video, so more people can discover these forgotten stories. Subscribe to True Event Archive, and turn on notifications, so you never miss the next chapter. There are many more mysteries waiting for us. Empires that rose, empires that fell, secrets buried in ash and silence. This has been True Event Archive, where history never truly dies. Until the next chapter.